Howdy, folks. I'm the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man,
I'm Amber.
and here's some marshmallows. Alright, folks, our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Wanting to Keep My Baby? And there's a pretty good slew of content warnings here, including adoption, forcefully taking a baby, infertility, so some stuff here going on, and it's a little bit of a sad one, too. So let's get started. Great way to start off Monday with a train wreck. After years of miscarriages and failed IVF, I, a 38-year-old female, was finally able to convince my husband, a 46-year-old male, that we should adopt. I just know I was meant to be a mother. My husband wasn't into the idea at first, but after spending upwards of $100,000 on IVF, he finally capitulated. We went through an agency that charged us just under $60,000 to find us a baby to adopt. When we matched with the birth mom, a 19-year-old female, we also spent a lot of money supporting her, not just medical bills, but also giving her money to buy healthy food and paying her rent so that she wouldn't get evicted, etc. I was in the delivery room when my daughter was born, and I got to cut the umbilical cord and everything. I was the first person to hold her and the first person to feed her. Birth mom mostly cried a lot, which should have been a red flag, as if pregnancy and giving up your child wasn't a traumatic enough experience that she shouldn't have been crying, like stone-faced. She should have just sat there like a robot, like the incubator that she should have been. But I was too wrapped up with falling in love with my beautiful baby girl. Birth mom signed the papers and I took my baby home. My state has a 2-week revocation period for adoption. Yesterday, she changed her mind. After all the money and time and emotional support and promises that she made to me, she changed her mind. The agency says the birth mom will have to take me to court now. The police won't come and take my baby, thank goodness. She is young and broke and can't afford an attorney. My husband and I can afford a great attorney, so it's most likely that we will win. We are better equipped to be parents than this girl will ever be. My baby deserves everything, and I can give that to her. Birth mom works nights and weekends in a service job and can't even afford her rent, much less a baby. I'm ready to fight for my child, but my sister-in-law, a 48-year-old female, disagrees and says that I'm a jerk for not giving back my baby. Husband hasn't really expressed his opinion, but didn't complain when I paid $30,000 to retain a lawyer. Sister-in-law also says that I'm a huge jerk because I said that I would call CPS on the birth mom if they made me give my baby to her. I just want my baby to be safe and loved and be in the best home, mine. Am I the jerk? Alright, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Major jerk. Like, I understand this is a hard situation, but you're treating this poor girl like she's just an incubator. You act like you put enough money out there, you can just buy a baby. And also, all the classism here, like, as if working parents can't be good parents. Like, money doesn't make you a good parent.
So, I think there's a lot of inherent inequality in this system. And if this girl felt like she had no other option but to give away her child for adoption, then she wasn't really a willing participant. And certainly she changed her mind. And there are laws on the books for reasons, right? Like, if she has the ability to change her mind and you knew in your state that she had the ability at any point in time within those first 2 weeks to change her mind, then you have to accept that risk. You have to be willing that she's going to change her mind. You have to know that that's going to be possible for right off the bat. So I think that you're a jerk because the fact of the matter is that there are laws on the books for reasons. She decided that she wanted her child back. That should be where the law goes, right? And there's a reason that they have these laws. Now, if you feel like she took from you, if you feel like she, didn't uphold her end of the bargain, you can take her to small claims court and try to get money out of her. I don't think that's right.
No.
I don't think you should do that. But I think that this is a unfortunate situation. It sounds like you really wanted to be a mom. You spent a lot of time, money, and energy in this, and it didn't work out. And that's a really sad and disappointing thing, and I can't underline that enough, but it does sound like you're trying to just buy a baby at this point in time.
Well, and especially the vindictiveness.
Yeah.
If she wins, I'll call CPS on
Yeah.
her. Like, you are not interested in the best interest of the child.
Yes.
You're interested in your interests.
Yeah, this is just me. And I honestly, I feel so bad for OP because I know that she really wants to be a mom, but I do not think she's handling this well. I don't think she's approaching it in the best way, and it sounds like she's being very selfish and self-centered. And okay, she wants to look out for her baby, right? Her baby, and that's admirable, but I also think that the birth mother, has the option of having her baby. She's carried the child for 9 months, right? She has some attachment to this, and that's why they have these laws. So that's my thoughts. Probably not something that OP would want to hear, but that's what I really honestly think. Anyhow, take care and good luck. You're the jerk. As an adopted person, I really wish I could say this was for sure fake, but there are way too many people out there who think like you aren't owed another person's baby. You are disgusting, and I really hope when that child grows up, she realizes the sort of person that you really are and cuts you off. Now I'm leaving before I really say what I want to say and get banned. This Am I the Jerk post really is laying bare how much adoption is really just about exploitation, coercion, and outright theft, in my opinion. I think that there are lots of legitimate adoption cases, and I think that this isn't, of course, the case for all adoptions. # not all adoptions. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for encouraging my son to choose which parent he wants to live with? Yeah, and there is a content warning in this one. There is an emotional affair. Throwaway account because I don't want this associated with my main. 3 years ago, I, a 36-year-old male, divorced my ex-wife, a 36-year-old female, kind of abruptly after realizing that I was gay. This was one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make, especially because our son, a 14-year-old male, was involved. I spent months leading up to the actual conversation, thinking it over in my head and discussing it with my best friend before I finally decided that the mental anguish that I would be causing myself would make me a worse parent and just a worse human overall. My ex seems to hold a lot of bitterness towards me for a lot of things. I played hard in the divorce because I was determined to keep my home that my son grew up in. I had been meeting with a majority of the lawyers in the area before I suggested divorce, which limited her options. She said that I blindsided her. Her opinion on these matters doesn't bother me. I'm okay being the villain in her story if she feels like she needs one. But it has started affecting her ability to parent. As if that doesn't already make you sound like a villain in your own story.
Yeah, you're not the hero here.
This does not make you heroic. We have a week-by-week custody agreement. And every other week, I get told stories about the negative comments she's made about me and my partner. The aforementioned best friend who I was discussing things with prior to divorce. So let me get this straight. You made sure to put all of your eggs into the basket and that your best friend was willing to take you in when you jumped ship. So of course your wife was blindsided. You talked this over with the wrong person, right? This was not something you should have been talking over with your best friend, your affair partner. You should have been talking this over with your wife. Or the text throughout the week when he's staying with my ex about how he wishes that he was at my home with my partner and I. I have documented all of this, and I'm so worried that my son is going to internalize some of this vaguely homophobic rhetoric that she spews, then could let it cloud his worldview or discourage him from sharing things with us. I have started encouraging him that if he feels comfortable with speaking to a judge, he's old enough to decide who he wants to live with full time. So far, he's told me that he's not ready yet, but he recently got into an argument with his mother where he told her that he was considering it. I have since received an onslaught of text messages from her about how I'm putting my ideas in his head. while I see this as me simply trying to advocate for my child. Am I the jerk? Edited ad, I worded the title wrong, because this is not something that I'm pushing my child to do at all. That's not what this sounds like. I presented it as an option to him after weeks of text and stories like the one I mentioned above. I wanted him to know that he has solutions to the problems and that he's not stuck, but I'm not trying to sway him in one way or another. Alright folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Jerk, you completely blindsided your wife, and it sounds like you just want to wipe her out completely. Like, you want to take the son and live in the childhood home and play happy family with your new partner, and that's not cool, and that's not a good way to treat someone who you spent a decade plus of your life with.
Yeah, I really have a problem with a lot of the things that happened in this post, and I really view them as very unfortunate, and it seems that OP is myopic towards his own faults here. He thinks that he did everything right and that he's a hero for coming out and whatnot, but the thing is that at every step, you could have spoken to your wife, you could have included her in the discussion, but you played this strategically so that you would be able to have the upper hand. And that's what really bothers me about this. I think that you went out of your way to screw your wife over. That's really what this sounds like. And I don't say that lightly. I think that you really did a disservice to your ex-wife, and this was malicious, right? You wanted to make sure you had all your eggs in the basket, and you hit her unprepared, unblindsided. As far as it sounds like, she didn't even know you two were having marital problems, right? And so then you make her world crumble around her, and then you're like, oh, she's persecuting me because I'm gay.
Right, and like, it's not cool if she's saying homophobic things, but you haven't even presented any examples. Like, it sounds like maybe she's just bashing you and your partner because you're bad people.
It's really hard to say, and like, if she is actually saying homophobic things, then like, that's
not
wrong.
Cool.
That's not
good. That needs to cut out. But if she's just bashing you and your partner for being scumbags,
which it sounds like,
then, that's not homophobic, that's you two are garbage.
Yeah. So if she is saying homophobic things, and I do want to make this abundantly clear, yeah, that's really not good, right? And maybe your son is better off being in a different household, but everything that led up to this, like, you really turned the screws on her, and I think that was completely inappropriate, and just the way you're phrasing things here makes me think that this is more of her airing your dirty laundry out and open, and not necessarily being homophobic, right? I don't know. I'm not there. So anyhow, take care, and I don't know. It seems like you're doing a pretty good job of taking care of yourself anyways. It sure doesn't sound as if any of the adults in this story are bothering to be decent people. You using your divorce as some sort of weapon, looking out for you and only you, and treating your wife as if she were the enemy, and it was all her fault. She's also wrong for talking badly about you to your son. Everyone's kind of a jerk here. Speaking of emotional affairs, our next letter is titled, Update, am I the jerk for starting a house project without discussing it first with my wife?
And before we get started, I just want to say I called it.
Yeah, I think we all called this. Thank you, Jot, so much for pointing this update out to me. I really appreciate you taking the time to message me. All right, folks, strap yourselves in. This could have been the start to the last story. First off, I'd like to thank everyone who was compassionate towards me in the comments. Ben and I sat down and talked on Tuesday night about everything. It was overwhelming, to say the least. He was gentle and sweet, as always, and allowed me the time and space to say everything I needed to. That night was one of the most beautiful of my life. Acceptance, love, and trust are so truly powerful, life-changing. Amy and I had a conversation about the spare room last night. I had been putting it off since my post a few days ago and was hoping to wait until the weekend to talk about it. But she insisted. I did, as a lot of commenters suggest, and used the renovation as a lead-in to talk to her about other things going on. I told her that her reaction to it brought up a lot of confusing emotions for me and that I've spent the last few days working through, and things continued from there. I had toyed with the idea of couples therapy, and it was something that she suggested, but I don't think it's a viable option. I love her, but I've come to realize that I was never in love with her like I once thought. And after getting into really truly experience that, it wouldn't be fair to either of us if we tried to force something that I'm not capable of giving to her. I'll be splitting my time staying in one of the guest rooms with Ben in his apartment for the time being while we separate and work things out moving forward. Obviously, that means that room renovations have been paused until further notice. I'm really excited for the future. Edited ad on my current living situation. All right, folks, what do you think of this update?
The way he's handling it is a bit callous. Like, yeah, they need a divorce if he doesn't love her, but it does feel kind of like he's just like, oh, by the way, I've been thinking about this and I never loved you, so let's get divorced.
Yeah, I mean, all she's going to hear from that is, I never loved you, right? And also, what makes you think, OP, that this is a lasting love between you and Ben? This might also be something that you're like, oh, well, 5 years from now, you look at it, back at it, and like, oh, well, maybe that was the same kind of thing that I have right now with my wife. And the thing is that the person you should have talked to first was your wife, right? You should have been talking to your wife. You continued your emotional affair even after people told you that you had an emotional affair. And I think that was wrong. And it also sounds like you went and shored up and made sure that Ben was going to take you in instead of actually having the responsible conversation with your wife to begin with, right?
Yeah, well, and he doesn't even seem to have any, like, not, like, remorse for the
Yeah,
situation.
no
Like,
remorse.
You think that if you've been married to someone, like, even if you realize you're not compatible, there still should be some kind of, like...
He should be sad, right? He should be sad about the loss of this relationship.
concern for how it affects Amy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's just like, I'm so excited for what comes next. And, like,
While her world is crumbling down around her, he's like, I'm excited, I'm gonna go and be with Ben, right?
and it's like, so it's just kind of like, do you not, you say you love her, but I don't actually buy that you even really like her.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, it feels like he doesn't even like her at this point in time. It feels like he just kind of views her as an accessory. Maybe she was a beard for him, who knows? Like, maybe he never wanted to accept that he was gay and that he's had these feelings for a long time. Maybe this is, like, not quite as honest as he could be with this post and telling people. There's a lot of questions here that I have, but I really don't feel like he handled it in the best way. And I think the first person he should have been talking to would have been his wife. And maybe even trying to work things out and seeing if there was some way for him to reestablish the flame of their relationship, right? If he's not feeling like it's as passionate as it once was, right? So I just feel like he's continuing an emotional affair, which has now turned into a full-blown affair while he's still married, and then being like, oh, I'm happy. Anyhow, take care.
I hope Amy gets the house so she can turn the room into whatever she wants.
Yeah. Poor Amy. OP had an emotional affair and then left poor Amy. She deserves better. He's calling his relationship with Ben the most beautiful, amazing thing. Life changing. I think we all see where this is going. All right, folks. Grab yourself your beverage of choice. It is tea time. I have tea. Amber has tea. We all have tea. Amber looks like she's ready and raring to go to tell us a joke. So take it away, Amber.
What did the star say when it was excited?
Boom. Supernova.
I'm over the moon right now.
Oh no, that's bad for Earth tidal forces.
I didn't say it was Earth's moon.
Well, that's true, you didn't. I still think it would have torn whatever moon that was apart. I'm sorry.
The star
I'm twisted.
could be very, very far away and still be over
That's
the moon.
fair. That's fair. That's true. That's very true. And I have Earl Grey. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving it a like. And if you didn't, consider giving it a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye. Liar.
I am not a musical instrument. I'm a marshmallow man.